Doctor with Uh-Oh. You're listening to the Morning Breakdown on the Eagle 1575, and I have a few special guests with me here today. I'm joined by Miss Samantha Woodell and Mr. Robert Omer. They are from the American Red Cross. How are you guys doing today?
Very good, thank you.
Doing great.
Alrighty. And so, since today is 9/11, we are going to be commemorating that. And so I think to start off, we wanted to talk about just some of your guys' experiences and how the events changed you.
Yeah, later on we'll talk a little bit more specifics about preparedness, but I thought we should start off with a little bit of remembering 9/11 and our own personal memories. Starting next year, it's going to be the 18th anniversary. We're going to start having folks joining the military who weren't alive during 9/11.
Wow.
So I think it's becoming that more important for us each year to really remember what happened. It was a turning point in our national history in terms of an awakening and a change in our awareness of personal and national security. So it's important to understand how we got where we are and why we think about things the way we do. I know for me personally, I had just finished 3 years in Japan. I was on my way to a university program, and I was supposed to leave 2 days later. And my dad got me out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. We were in California, and he pulled, you gotta come see this, you gotta come see this. And we sat there just watching in horror all morning. And I didn't leave 2 days later, clearly. If anyone remembers, all the planes stopped. So I left about 2 weeks later. And when I got back and I was looking for positions, our entire sense of personal safety and what was safe and what our role in the world had changed. And I had just finished an MBA. And so the original plan had been, I'm going to go get a job in finance, I'm going to go get a job at the bank, I'm going to go make the big money, right? Well, clearly that didn't happen. I've been with the Red Cross for 16 years now. So one of the big things for me, how it changed my direction in life, is that rather than going out and getting one of those high finance jobs, I started looking at positions that were more of a service. So by 2003, when I was full on and trained with the Red Cross, and I joined service to the Armed Forces, and I was traveling with the Red Cross, deploying with Red Cross with the military, and by 2003 I was in Iraq. So it was one of those, it changed the entire direction of my professional life. So, How about you, Bob?
Well, I remember 9/11 just like it was yesterday. I was working in a hospital in Nebraska, and when it happened, I was called out of my office to look and see what was on the television, and there were a group of us that just stood there in disbelief. We couldn't believe what was happening in New York, and then not long after that at the Pentagon. And so the interesting thing to me was during that day, more and more information was coming out, but even the news channels were struggling to know what happened, what was the extent of it, the involvement, and in a disaster or an event like that, I think the lessons learned was about communication. But you begin to think about your family. Are you safe? And working in hospitals, my entire work career, that was the beginning really of a major focus on security in public buildings, like hospitals.
Yeah, before that, you could just walk in and out. You pick up the phone and call, and no one batted an eye at it.
So 9/11 really, I think, changed everything for our country.
Yeah.
A couple of years before had been the Columbine shooting at a high school in Colorado, and that got everybody's attention, but you thought,
you thought there'd be nothing worse than that.
There couldn't be anything worse than that, and it won't happen in our community, let alone something on a national scale, and that brought international terrorism to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about, I think that 9/11 really, again, was our national wake-up call. It changed the rules of the game. With that said, we'll talk a little bit about preparedness, and one of the things we forget is that although 9/11, yes, was what woke us up, and it's important to commemorate it, it's important to talk about these things every year, domestic terrorism, like school shootings, like the Oklahoma bombings, name many, are technically our bigger risk at this point, but they weren't, for whatever reason, they weren't enough to change our national awareness.
Alright. And then speaking of awareness and stuff, I think we're actually going to talk about some awareness type things here in just a little bit. We're going to take a quick music break though. We got your extended weather forecast coming up as well, so keep on listening to the Eagle 1575.